Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible impact. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney, focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Sam Schmidt, the founder and chairman of Conquer Paralysis Now. Welcome, Sam.
Welcome, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the program and for people to learn about your journey. Tell us about your racing and paralysis journey.
Well, Cliff Note version is started racing when I was 5 years old. Dad put me on a motorcycle in Southern California. He was a racer, I was a racer, and so the next 10 or 15 years it was just work on the vehicles and the motorcycles during the week and go race on weekends. Incredibly family-oriented sport, and I didn't think it was weird at the time, but we didn't do football, basketball, baseball, or hunting or fishing. We raced, and so it was our group, our family. Over time, my hero was Rick Mears, because he was also born and raised in Bakersfield, California. Started out in off-road, got hooked up with Roger Penske, and ultimately won 4 Indy 500. So I'd say from about 10 years old on, my goal was specifically Indy 500, and we had a few curveballs along the way, and that's a whole other story in itself. But I was fortunate to compete there, 97, 98, 99. Moved to Las Vegas in 1995 because it was just easier with the racing schedule and flights and everything. But in 1999, sat on the pole, won the race in Vegas. But 4 months later, preparing for the 2000 season, I had a big crash, and C4, C5 basically blew apart. C3, 4, 5, don't have a C4 vertebrae, was knocked out on a ventilator, and didn't look very good. But that was 24 years ago, and intensive rehabilitation, activity-based training has become part of my routine, and allowed me to do a lot of other things.
Absolutely. And definitely you've been busy doing good and putting good out in the world. And could you tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit, Conquer Paralysis Now, and kind of the positive impact you're making on the community and everything you're doing to try to improve independence for families?
I think it started out a lot like many nonprofits start, in that I was at a specialized neuro rehabilitation in Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis, and tons of letters, tons of family, great community, motorsports backing, etc. And they all wanted to help out, but if I had professional athlete insurance, I had a great community around me. And so we decided to leverage the fan base and everything around it, and try to help other people that weren't as fortunate. So that was just kind of a general philosophy. Didn't have any idea what we were getting ourselves into or the work that was involved, but it was originally called the Sam Schmidt Foundation, and then over time that's morphed into Conquer Paralysis Now, which for the first 16 or 17 years primarily funded venture research, young postdocs, interesting ideas, but needed a boost to get to NIH funding, et cetera. So had a lot of success with that. Everything from Dr. Susie Harkema early on to rehabilitation to stem cell procedures to all kinds of things. But in 2018, we realized all translational research winds up in activity-based training or intensive rehabilitation. So we decided to focus on that, although we still do invest collaboratively in research. Mainly what we do now is under the umbrella of the Driven Neuro Recovery Center. Conquer Paralysis Now is the foundation that raises funds for what we do, but Driven is the program which we started in Vegas with a beta test, and it's been overwhelmingly received and successful from the standpoint of getting people back to work and getting people back into life. And I just had no idea there was so much demand, both in the community and the veteran community. So kind of re-inspired me to try and bring that level of exercise therapy to as many people as want it in the country. So that's kind of the path forward, is focused on that.
I know the lives that you've touched and impacted and that have come to the doors of Driven. It's life changing when you're not kind of stuck in your home and you figure out, oh, this is moving my body is a good thing. Like there's different ways of doing it. Maybe I can't physically do it with my mind anymore or mentally do it with my mind, but there's ways of doing it through electrical stimulation and different bicycles and standing frames and gait training, but like you're getting people on the move, which is incredible. And I one of the fun things about you, Sam, is there's lots of headlines out there in the world, and I came across this one. Sam Schmidt receives nation's first driver's license for a semi-autonomous vehicle. Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, I mean, the program started back in 2013 because of my racing background and just the foundation and what we've done at different hospitals and the visitations, et cetera. A company in Denver called Aero Electronics was looking to kind of show their internal staff and external suppliers what they do as a business. And they decided to design a car for somebody to use that couldn't use arms or legs. One thing led to another. The people at Craig Hospital told them about me. And so we went down this path. And 6 months later, I was driving a Corvette and then mostly on tracks, et cetera. And they said, hey, can we get you a license? And luckily, the state of Nevada was very aggressive and said, yeah, we want to be a part of that project. So there are driving systems for high-level quads, but not really to my level of having nothing from the neck down. So we worked with the state of Nevada and Aero to check all the boxes in a typical driver test. Go to the counter, wait in line, get your picture taken, all that stuff, and then that all culminated with the semi-autonomous driver's license that I have in Nevada, and I maintained till today. Although I prefer to go fast on the track rather than drive on the freeway, but we have it, and it was quite a step forward way back in 2016.
And tell us, so it's in a Corvette and a McLaren now. How do you actually drive the vehicle?
Yeah, so I mean that's been an evolution, just like anything in technology the last 7 years. So we went from a pretty, I wouldn't say scary, but it was nervous, and 60 miles an hour was a challenge. And then we went to over 100, and we went over 115 and 150. But you have to race Mario and check a lot of boxes on my bucket list along the way. But all the time, their engineers were evolving the technology, finding better sensors, take the film off the windows, take the target top off, enjoy the sunshine in Vegas, that kind of thing. So every one of these steps has been an engineering challenge to Aero, and they make it happen. And we've got it now to where I turn my head to the left, the car goes to the left, turn to the right. I think you got a chance to try it out there recently, but it has evolved from 4 Corvettes now to a McLaren 720S, which is a lot of fun. I don't know that I'll ever go back to a Corvette, but have a lot of fun with it, give rides, do exhibitions for them, do trade shows, and really show the technology and show what a private-public collaboration can accomplish in a very short amount of time. And to me, there's like no magic pill to this situation, right? You got to want to do the exercise, the therapy, and also mind. I mean, your mental state of mind is extremely important. Just as you are an advocate in Washington, I have no patience for that whatsoever. So I do my thing, you do your thing. And so
That's why we're a team, Sam. Attack from all angles.
Part of the team, and both need desperately to be done. And the level of technology used every day is what can help people get back to work and get back to quality of life. You didn't really need anybody to motivate you, but I was surprised at how many people just don't know that there's a pathway, And so that's what's been great about it's a triangle, right? It's the arrow, it's the technology, it's the foundation, it's the ABT therapy. It all is linked, in my opinion, to successfully getting people back to work until we have a way to fix this situation.
I like that. I know with Conquer Paralysis Now and Driven, so many families, so many memories, so many stories. Is there one that's really had a lasting impact on you?
A couple really, but we have a board member named Tierra Carter, and she was driving with her father to Utah, about 6 or 7 years ago now, and they hit black ice and went off, and her father walked away, but she was a high-level quadriplegic on a ventilator, went to a nationally ranked rehab center, and they really said, really, you're not going to get anything back, and you're stuck with it, and kind of go home. And she didn't have great insurance, and that was right when we opened Driven, and she came in with the right mindset. She was a single mother with, I believe at the time, a 11 or 12 year old, and she wanted to get back into life. She wanted to be productive. Uh, and the backstory of this is what's really tragic is prior to that, her other five siblings had passed away in a house fire. So she was literally the only remaining person in the family, and the father was mentally destroyed because here he only had one daughter left, and he felt like he ruined her life. She has had the most positive attitude in the world. She has worked out. She's gotten to where she's not on the ventilator. She has gone from using controls like I do to using a joystick to drive and using all kinds of adaptive stuff. And now she's a full-time employee back at Remax in their HR department and going on with life, and just bought a house. And if I'm not mistaken, that house has 3 or 4 other rooms where other people with disabilities live. So it's really a full circle thing. She's doing amazing things, and we're proud to have her on the board. And it's just one of 100 stories, but it resonates because it was right at the time we opened the center, and she's made amazing progress personally, physically, and she's back into life, and she's paying taxes, and that's the whole example, I think, of what can be done if we grow this program.
You're changing lives and changing futures, Sam, and it's I know it's extra special to be a part of people's journeys, and they're part of your journey. It's just together we're stronger. That's for sure. And I love asking this question, but what does accessibility mean to you?
I think for me, it's just I don't know, it's a cliche, but just independence, and accessibility, or the whole thing about cure, right? Is a lot of people are chasing this cure, but I think at first that was all about walking. That's all we heard. Let's try and walk. But as time has gone on, and as I've met all these people and got fully integrated into whatever he's dealing with out there, it's there's a bunch of different definitions of what that would be. I know for you and me, it'd be great if we could just grab those young kids and give them a big hug. I think that'd be like really, really a huge step forward. And I don't know that I need anything else. But for many people, it's their lives, their marriages, their relationships. But for me, it's access to whatever you want to do in life going forward. For me, it was owning a race team. For you, it's advocacy and in solving these problems in Washington, state by state initiatives, et cetera. And so many people, it could be just as easy as getting your driver's license. And so with Driven, we've been able to sit people down and say, we're really sorry about your disability and your situation, but if you wanted to do anything in life, now's an opportunity. And how do we combine your physical and your mental development and technology to accomplish that goal? And what are the steps we have to do chronologically to get there, right? So, yeah, accessibility for me was competing. Like, it's funny, like, I've had people say, why don't we start a disabled person's racing league? And I'm like, why the hell would I want that? I want to compete with able-bodied people using the technology I have and just go head to head. Robert Wickens just proved you can win a national championship with hand controls against everybody else. And so that to me is his version of accessibility, right? Is I was a champion before. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to go back and win a championship. And he did. So, yeah.
I'm hearing it's all about moving forward. And when it comes to competition, you want the best of the best. You don't care what abilities that they have or come to the table with. They're ready to compete. Let's make it happen.
For 20 years,
And
for 20 years as an IndyCar team owner, I can tell you the other owners are not cutting me any slack because I'm in a wheelchair. They
yeah,
want to kick my butt on Sunday, just like I want to kick their butt. But
gotta bring it.
that's what I want. So
And what role do you believe technology plays in making the world more inclusive for people with disabilities?
it's huge. One of the part of the stories I didn't tell earlier because it's a long story is my dad was paralyzed when I was 11, racing, and that's kind of what stopped my career for a little bit. But that was 1974, and they had no adaptive equipment, right? He had to figure out how to get in and out of the car. He had to figure out how to put a granny wheel on the steering wheel. He actually tied a left foot throttle into the right foot throttle. He was lucky he was mechanical and he could figure these things out. But at that time, Ralph Braun was just getting his business off the ground and creating mobility and creating wheelchair accessible vans. And so, man, the technology and accessibility and what we see with Siri and Alexa, I mean, all of these things combined, including what you have in front of you, opens up just a Pandora of opportunity for people with disabilities. I don't know, that may have not been what they were created for originally, but that's the great thing about it is we can use various pieces of technology and put them to use in a different way than maybe they were intended for this type of goal. And I think the last 5 years have been a huge step forward. And I think through social media and other pathways of knowledge and what you're doing here, more and more people are getting interested in doing it. So I think it's fantastic.
And there's a lot of big gaps within businesses prioritizing access and inclusion. And what do you think some of those big gaps are?
Transportation's a huge one. Affordability. I mean, we all know maybe 10% of the people with any form of a disability can afford an $80,000 or $90,000 van. So looking forward 5-10 years to some sort of Uber for people with disabilities that's cost effective, inner city travel, that kind of thing as we move driven forward is a huge obstacle. We are fortunate in Vegas to have the best public transportation, I think, in the country, but that's driven by tourism dollars. We don't have that in Indianapolis or other places. So that's a big challenge going forward. Getting people out of the house is so, in my opinion, energizing, and get outside, feel the sun, breathe the air. And so many of my friends don't even have that ability to do that strictly because of transportation. So I think that's a really big roadblock. Airline transportation, that's another hot topic, right? So making that easier. All the planning that I've been doing for 24 years to travel in the situation. And I still showed up at 9 o'clock at a hotel last Sunday night and they had given away my accessible room. And it's like, after all this time and all this planning, it's all preparation, it shouldn't happen, but it still happens. So take a deep breath and deal with it and move on.
And you do it well. You go on and you never stop moving forward, Sam. That's the truth. I just want to thank you so much for being our guest today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. Thank you for your voice, your journey, your story, all the above. Thanks, Sam.
Well, I didn't do it originally to motivate others, but that has become a motivating factor in my life now is if people look at our situation and the fact that I went over 200 miles an hour as part of my step forward and a goal, it's just an example of them setting goals and making it happen. And if we can help you, obviously Conquer Paralysis Now and conquerparalysisnow.org, drivenlv.org. Those are both websites for information to what we're doing. But we also want to emphasize collaboration, right? I mean, we can't do everything, and there's a lot of good organizations out there that we regularly connect people to. And there are 45 other activity-based training centers around the country doing what we're doing in Las Vegas and doing really good work. So I would just challenge people to find them, seek them out, get emotionally and physically sort of back in shape and just get back to life. And just one day at a time. I look at it as a gift, especially with my new grandbaby. But those kind of things re-energize you a lot, and you just got to try and find things in your own life that fuel your passion and find your purpose. So, yeah, glad to be here and glad you're doing what you're doing, and happy to help out with that simply because I don't want to do it, and you're much better at it. So, congratulations on your young child and Katie and everything you had going on. So, great job.
Thank you, Sam, and everything well said, and appreciate you and all that you do. And to all of our guests, thank you so much for staying to the end of accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us at accessiBe_community. And as always, thank you for being on this journey with us. Bye, everyone. Bye, Sam.